All right, guys, well, we're going to do a Loadstar update video. It's probably going to be relatively short, but I'm going to put a little time in on it. I haven't put much time in the last couple of weeks. Been working on the school bus and some other projects. I spent some time today, actually, on the school bus some more. Got the, yesterday and today. Yesterday, got the body and frame situated the way I want it permanently. Jacked up and blocked up the way it needs to be. And today, since I had a machine at home, I wanted to get the wheels and tires off, which proved to be rather difficult. Those things have been on for a long time. The bus was definitely at the end of its life. The rear brake cans were all completely rusted. There was not much left in the linings on the rear. What the hell are they called? Why can't I think of it? Dust shields on the brakes were completely rusted off. It was just rough. Wheels and tires hadn't been off in a long time, but with a lot of persuasion, we got them off. So they're loose now. So whenever I want to, I can take those in and get those wheels blasted and painted. And I did look at the rear axle. It is useless to me. It's a Spicer. It's not an International axle. I was hoping that front cover might be the same, but obviously it's not going to be. I can tell it's a little bit different diameter anyway, probably by about an inch or so. So this is a heavier axle for sure. So that's gonna be today's task. So let me turn the old camera around here and I'm gonna show you what we're gonna work on here. So first I'm gonna show you what I've already done this weekend. That is, if we can get to it, that new compressor governor got installed. Works perfect, flawlessly, builds pressure. Actually, this compressor builds pressure really fast, builds right up to 130 and sits right there. So that's done. I had to move it yesterday. I had to get again, because I had a machine at home, I wanted to get the chicken coop out of here because I knew that if I was going to tear apart this axle, then the chicken coop's not coming out with the truck in the way. So we got the compressor governor on, got the truck fired up and moved outside, pulled the chicken coop out with the skid steer, and truck went back in. So what I've got for today, and unfortunately I left my sweet new tripod at work, so you guys aren't going to be able to see much. Maybe I can find a place to perch the camera. But first order of business, you can see those little puddles right there. So that pinion is leaking bad, even with that brand new seal. So we got to figure out what's going on. So we're going to get the OEM tool U-joint remover, and we're going to get that joint popped out of that yoke and set the drive shaft up on a jack stand and get it out of the way. Then pull that pinion cover off and the pinion and the yoke and see what we got going on. Just do a little measuring and looking. Second order of business is I want to get these axles pulled out. So we're going to get this thing up in the air a little bit, get the weight off and pop out those axles. And because mostly I want to see what is going on with my bearing nuts. I know they're not tight enough, so I'm gonna at least pull one of these axles out anyway. I don't even need to pull both right now, but pull an axle out, get the outer bearing nut off, and mic it so that I can get the correct axle nut so I can torque these properly, because I just don't want to put too many more miles on this thing knowing what it's doing. So probably also going to take off a sample lug nut. I guess I'll do it on the front too, because this axle probably will live in this truck for at least until wintertime, next winter, when I think I'm going to tackle the new, the front axle swap. There's just not time for that right now. Trying to get this truck ready to go to a show. It does stop just fine for what it's going to be. We're going to run this axle for now. Long term, I absolutely do want to have a braked front axle, but that's a wintertime project for next year when I don't have much going on. So, but I want to pull off some lug bolts up front, one each. I think they're different actually. Pull one up front and one out back, and I'm going to go to bolt and screw shop and get some new ones. These are I painted these. They're not going to hold up long term, and I like the idea of having that shiny new bolt look, new hardware. I think it'll look nice. So it's, I don't know what time it is, 3:30 in the afternoon. I don't have a whole lot of time to put to this anyway, so let's see if we can get that axle pulled and the drive shaft and front pinion cover off, and then we've got some parts to chase after for this week and see what we can get sealed up on this bad boy. All right, guys, so some good news. One, as you saw, well, the time lapse probably is so fast that you can't really tell, but regardless, we got the axle out. Those of you who were paying close attention probably said, what an idiot, why did he take the axle out first when he had to pull the drive shaft and get that pinion nut off? So if you were being perceptive, yes, that was a dumbass move. But so we slid the axle back in and just got those nuts on, just barely. So got everything off. Very good news. What I found, you'll see I've already cleaned this thing up, this pinion cover, but if I can do this, if we prop this yoke up, you can see on that seal, it is nice and tight. That's that new seal that I got from International. So that's a good seal. The problem was that it was leaking here because I don't know what I was thinking, but I didn't put any sealant on it. It was so rusted. There was no sealant on it before. So I'm kind of thinking that's where it was leaking all along, but I'm glad we got a new pinion seal after all that trouble. But so what I'm going to do is I'm gonna put a silicone seal on that, a nice good bead. So we're gonna do that right now, as long as I've got silicone, which I'm pretty positive I do. But first, we're actually I'm gonna drain the axle so that I stop getting this little. I've cleaned this face up too. It needs to be wiped off, but regardless, I took a flap wheel to it. So we gotta stop this from happening. So we're going to. Probably could do this, guys, couldn't I? Whoa, yeah, that makes a difference. I love this wide angle camera on this phone. Makes it so much handier when you're in spots like this. So anyway, we're going to drain, because this needs to be changed anyway. This is all the old fluid, and I've got, I don't know, 12 gallons or 15 gallons, something of 80/90 to put into this axle and transmission. So we're going to go ahead and get that done right now. Now's the time to do it. We'll get that drained so that stops weeping. Then get that siliconed on, put some paint on that cover, and I'll decide if I put the drive shaft back on today or do it another day. But regardless, we found the problem. We always like ones like this, right? Easy fixes, no parts needed. Just got to deal with boneheads being boneheads, right? All right, let me get to it. Okay, guys, so what I've done is I had a little bit of, not a ton, but I had a little bit of gasket maker left, and I put it on, and it was what normally would be enough, and went around back after putting the drain plug back in and when I pulled the plug on the fill hole, I was going to add fluid, but in looking at, I was looking up here from the top, around the top of the flange, and you're not going to be able to see. Maybe you can. Let's see if we can see. Yeah. See how that, right's not tightened down right now. Obviously, I just put it back on to get some paint on it, but see how that bows out? I tried hitting on it. There's not much I can do. It's going to do that just because this is tin rather than a cast flange or whatever, thicker flange. So It's actually was sealed. When I pulled it back off, obviously the silicone was still wet, and our gasket maker was still wet, and it had a good seal actually all the way around. It was just on the inner edge up here. But quite frankly, I don't have to do this again. It's a pain in the butt. So I'm going to get a fresh tube, like a caulk gun tube of RTV, and put a nice fat bead all the way around and seal this properly. So going to get a second coat of paint on this right now. Let this sit for the week. Get all my bolts and hardware and nuts and all that, and then reseal this, put some fresh fluid in it so I can be done with it, hopefully forever. So there's just no reason to, we're not in a hurry. We're not trying to drive this tomorrow or something. So why rush it? Why run the risk that it's not going to seal and we got to do this whole process over again and burn another hour or two on it? So I'm going to get another quick coat of paint here and we'll be done under here for today. There, we'll let that dry. And be good to go for next week. Get the last of our tools put away here. And I think I went through this already, but my sweet shift boot, that's going to be perfect. But I forgot to get screws this week, so that's another thing we'll round up this week is screws. And then hopefully maybe I'll have time next weekend too to put this in the new clutch brake. I'll make driving just a hair easier. We'll see, because next week I do have, you can probably hear the damn lamp. There's the goat, a loud ass goat out there. I've got that gate to put on and a fence to move, so hopefully maybe I can get half a day or so, or a day in on the Loadstar though. So, but that's where we stand, guys. We're still chipping away at this. I really wanted to get this rear end figured out before I go any farther, but now we're in the home stretch. We'll get what we need, get that thing put back together, and then we can, I think it's going to be time to, next project's going to be this stuff. I wanted to show you too, I have a bunch of steel here, this quarter tube, and there's some quarter bar there, and these things are for another project, for another video. But this down here, all these pieces, let's see, get one out. This is the closest we could come up with for stake pockets. So you can see side to side, they're tight. They do move like this, but obviously, we're gonna have a sideboard behind that that's gonna go the whole way, and I'll probably break it into two. So we got two, whatever this is, a 13-foot bed or something like that. So we'll have, basically 3 stakes per board. So there'll be somewhere around, 6 to 7 feet per sideboard, and then, one for the front and one for the back. So I think they're going to work out pretty good. I mean, the only thing we looked at profiles of C-channel, wasn't going to work. With my steel guy, I looked at all kinds of stuff. He pointed out we could have something custom made. That's just big dollars that I don't want to spend. So this will be easy enough where I'll go through with the drill press and drill, probably 2 holes. Or actually, I'm sorry, it'll be more than that, because we're doing an actual 2x. I'm having this milled, this wood custom cut. So this is going to be 1.5-inch oak, and it'll white oak, and it'll be true 12 inches and then a true 6 inches above it for the sideboard. So we're actually going to do 2 holes and then 2 more holes. So a whole lot of drilling to do, but we'll drill those all out and then figure out a way to string this up and get them all primed and painted. And then it's the fun part of bolting it all together. So I think it'll look cool with, with black painted racks and like a stain on the wood or a protectant, what have you. Basically be a wood color. So, well, I think that's about where we're going to finish it, guys. That's it for the Loadstar. I'm ready to go and relax and hang out with the family. So thanks for watching. As always, we're plugging away on this thing. It's, what is it here? End of March. And mid-September is when the truck show is. So cross your fingers that my gooseneck comes in time. And, you know, I think we're at the point where this thing is going to be able to go. You know, will it be 100%? Of course not. But will it be running and driving and moving? Sure. So hope you guys have a good one. Take care.